Hi all, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are starting a brand new sketchbook. The sketchbook I will be using is a 7x7-inch Stillman Birn Zeta series, so another mixed media sketchbook that has 270 GSM. And this sketchbook's going to be a little bit different than other ones you may have seen from me. Recently, I have fallen in love with character design and want to try my hand at it. So I thought, what better way to test out my skills than to just buy a sketchbook truly dedicated to character design. And as I plan to begin 2022 with a bang, I thought it'd be fun to bring you guys along as I complete an entire spread in this brand new sketchbook. This sketchbook spread is going to be dedicated to what I would love to wear or styles that I've seen for what other people plan to wear to go out and celebrate the new year. And honestly, this first look is where I'm probably going to be at, is just wearing a fun little hat that says 2022 and calling it good and staying in my pajamas. But it's still fun to dream and think about what I could wear if, I had crazy money or somewhere to be. The pencil I'm using here is a Prismacolor Color Erase in the blue, and I thought this would be a great way to start out, just adding a little color to the page, as I'm hoping to leave a few of the designs without other colors. So just kind of using that blue as a foundation, and then choosing a few of the drawings to actually color in with my alcohol markers. I came across the character design as I've been working to finish out my 100 head sketchbook and thought that it was a really fun way of incorporating different facial features onto characters, and honestly had a blast practicing drawing outfits. So here we are, winging it and seeing if this is something that could be a new creative outlet for my drawing. Since I was wanting this to be more sketchy, I am going to call that first drawing done and move on to our first character. For this first character, I plan to have her at kind of an angle, so standing there with the right shoulder jutting forward a little bit more and that left shoulder slightly hidden by the torso. And I was really inspired by a pair of pants that I have. They are a pair of pants I bought off Amazon, and they are so comfortable in this really nice soft fabric and just a beautiful wide-legged pant with a tie around the waist, and I feel like they are super flattering. When looking for inspiration on Pinterest, I actually found that corset tops seem to be pretty popular to go with wide-legged pants, and so that's what we've added here, is just a little corset top to finish out her New Year's Eve look, and then keeping her hair pretty simple, as well as her jewelry and shoes. I wanted the main attraction to really be going towards those pants. After roughly sketching in with my color erase, I am going back in with a Prismacolor Illustration Pen just to outline my figure. Now, this felt really weird. I wasn't sure that I wanted to outline everything. I didn't want it to look super cartoonish, but felt like this was my best bet at keeping those lines together as I added in some alcohol marker. Once I have the outline completed, I then went back in with my kneaded eraser and removed that color erase pencil. Finding skin tone was fun. I tried out a variety of colors. I tried out the 26, 27, and 29, and ended up going with that 26 just because I did want her to be very light complected. Let's be honest, it's the end of December. She shouldn't have a tan. And I decided to lay that color down first, as I really wanted that to set the tone for the other color choices that I made on the rest of this character. The next big decision was choosing what color of pants. I wanted those pants to be very bold, and I love a good emerald green. So I tried out both 55 and 53 and felt like 55 was a better fit, just a very nice solid emerald green color, and then thought that I could go back in with that 53 and add in some darker tones where the fabric has gathered both around the waist and kind of swooshed at the bottom of the pant legs. A great thing about this sketchbook is that this paper is extra heavyweight and it's a smooth surface. So I'm not as concerned about being able to really load that color onto the page. I do know that it is going to ghost a bit on the back. That's kind of inevitable with alcohol markers, but always something that's, in the back of my mind. Now that I have finished with the emerald green, I'm going back in with that darker color, the 53, and just adding in some shadows. I wanted the pants to actually look like they were being worn and not just sitting on a piece of paper. And from there, I began working on the corset top. Now, a lot of the New Year's Eve looks I had seen on Pinterest had a ton of black, so I felt like choosing a really dark color for the top was probably the best fit, and I ended up going with the NG7. I didn't want to go completely black just because I didn't want it to lose some of the detail, so I just chose a gray that I felt fit real well. And then wanted to also incorporate a few shadows on the arms, so I added in that YG03 for a little bit of added detail. And now on to her shoes and earrings. I wanted something that would still pop a bit but not take away from those pants, and so ended up going with a gold color in the 31 just to kind of accent, and I always feel like gold goes so well with emerald. Choosing her hair was difficult. I knew I wanted to do a brunette, but I didn't want to go too dark. So between the 95 and 96, I ended up choosing the 96 as her all-around color, and then went in with the 95 and just added some more lowlights just to give her a little bit more dimension. And the final touch was this fun pinkish red color for her lips. And to finish out her look, I am going in with a white gel pen and just adding a few highlights. I added them to the top of her shoes, the ruffles at the top of the pants, and then also added some ribbing into the corset just for some smaller minute details to really complete that look. And on to our second character design. So this girl, I wanted to be facing our first character, but I wanted her to be wearing a dress and then this beautiful like fuzzy jacket. I like the idea of her like fixing her look, and I just wanted her to kind of look effortless, like she had thrown this together but still ended up looking super cute. And a bunch of the looks that I pulled from Pinterest had these super fuzzy, furry type jackets, and I just thought it was a great idea, especially since December 31st can always end up being super chilly, at least from where I'm at. And so the combination of the textures between that super furry jacket and then a long chiffon-like dress. And since she's so glitzied on the top, I decided to have her in a more practical bootie just because, hey, you can look cute and be comfortable too, right? And the more I think about it, the booties are perfect. Her feet are not going to kill her as much as our first characters at the end of the night. And I bet they help with static because, let's be honest, that jacket has to just create so much static electricity that no wonder she has to adjust her hair. And I think chiffon does as well. I can't remember. I've always remembered it being a very clingy fabric, so anything to help reduce that, I'm sure she appreciates. And I just realized I didn't add a shadow under my first character, and so we're going to add that in so it doesn't look like she's floating. Sticking with the gold, theme that I had seen in a lot of the posts based on Pinterest boards of what you could wear on New Year's Eve. I began pulling out different colors that I thought would help create that nice chiffon look, and ended up going with the base in a 121. I felt like this was a really nice like champagne color and would be a really nice light tone as we begin adding some of those darker shades in. I went then in with the 122 to begin adding in some of those folds, and then went in with the 126 just to further develop that color and just create some great dimension in that chiffon skirt, followed by the 127 to add some really dark values. For her skin tone, I actually ended up going with the 141 in a hazelnut, and I felt like that really fit this look. It just gave her a nice glow, almost like she had gone and gotten a spray tan before going out that night. And since I wasn't yet sure what color I wanted to use for the jacket, I actually ended up using some of the very same colors that I used in her skirt for her hair. I liked the idea that that would be pulling those lighter colors further up into our character, and then having somebody blonde and having those lowlights and highlights and just a little bit of root grow out. And since the rest of her ensemble was pretty plain Jane, I decided to go with a very vivid pink in the 6 for that jacket, and it is a showstopper. I feel like the lightness of her skirt and of her hair really make this jacket pop. And yes, it is a very vivid pink, but I know some girls who would totally rock this jacket. And since I really wanted that jacket to pop, I kept the shirt white, using a little bit of gray for those shadows, and I envision it honestly to be a sleeveless turtleneck. And keeping with the theme that I wanted the jacket to be our staple piece, ended up using a yellow ochre for the boot, just something really nice and functional. Then I went in with that YG03 to add in some more fur and just really expand upon the idea that that is just one fuzzy jacket. As her ensemble is coming together, I ended up going back in with the illustration marker and adding in some finer details. I wanted her makeup to be pretty plain, but decided to also pull in a little bit of the pink from her jacket onto her lips, as well as a little light blush in the 27 across her face. Now, originally when I had started working on this sketchbook spread, I had only planned on coloring in a few of the actual characters and leaving a few in that pencil just as a rough sketch. But so far, I'm really happy that I chose to color both of these in. I don't feel like you would get the same impression of those just super fabulous emerald pants if that character hadn't been drawn in. And same with the fuzzy jacket. I don't think you would have gotten the same impression. And on to our third character. So for her, I wanted her to be in a similar stance as our first character, but a little bit more pronounced. I didn't want you to really be able to see that left arm, and wanted to be able to really accentuate her hips for this pose. And the reason for that being is because I thought she would be fabulous in some glorious pinstriped bell bottoms. These pants I decided to have be high-waisted and then go all the way down and touch the floor with a very minimal amount of shoe showing. For the shirt, I wanted the main section to be fitted almost like the corset top on our very first character, but then I wanted there to be a sheer overlay that went all the way to the wrists. In keeping with the look, I gave her a low bun and some pearl earrings, something that would add to the look, but nothing that would distract or take away from her beautiful outfit. By the time I got to this third character, I was feeling so much more confident in my process. The first two drawings I feel like took forever, and I felt like I was continually second guessing the decisions I was making. But this one just felt right. I was confident in her stance, I was confident in her outfit, and even though I said that I had planned to just keep this as a sketch, I felt like you really had to have those colors in place in order to really get the vibe that I was going for. For her skin tone, I ended up going with the 157. I knew I wanted her a bit darker than the other two characters that I'd previously drawn, and felt like this was going to be a really good pair for the outfit. For her sections of skin that were going to be covered by that overlay, I actually ended up choosing the 131, which at first I felt was way too light and made a huge change between what her skin tone was and what the overlay was. But once I went back in with that YG03, I felt like I had actually made a really good choice, and that going any darker would have lost some of the effect. For the bodysuit and bell-bottom ensemble, I wanted to have this all black. I wanted the statement to be the outfit and not based on a color. So I chose the NG6 to fully cover the tank top underneath as well as the bell-bottom base. Then I used a combination of the NG7 as well as the NG8 to add in some darker sections. Since the goal of this look was to mainly be in black, I wanted to be able to add some highlights and lowlights without it just completely being lost in a dark color. Before going on to adding the details into the pants and the bodysuit, I wanted to add in her hair, and this is where I struggled. I wanted to have it another brunette, but wanted to have hints of red in there. So I tried out the 99 as well as the 98 and felt like both of those were a little too dark, and ended up settling on the 92, and then went back in with the 178 and just added some very nice low lights just to add a little bit more dimension to her hair. I also used the 178 for her eyebrows and the 159 for a light nude lip. For the bodysuit overlay, I wanted there to be polka dots, and I wanted those polka dots to look like they had been lightly embroidered onto that sheer fabric. Since the rest of her outfit was all in black, I decided to go in with a 15 and just give her a hint of a red pointy shoe. And then on to the pinstriped pants. So this, I took my gel pin in the 05 and just tried to lightly drag those down the pants to give the illusion of a very fine pinstripe. After the pinstripes had been added, I went in with black and just accentuated a few of those darker values. And now on to our fourth character, or fifth depending upon how you look at it. Now for this character design, I wanted her to just be all out glam. In years past, when I've actually gone out to celebrate, I feel like there is always the one female in the crowd that has taken the assignment of dressing up for an evening out to the next level. So for her look, I decided it to be a tulle dress that was cinched at the waist with a tiny belt, and just have it be like something you would see on a runway. I wanted her look to be a little bit more risque, so had that front portion of the dress stop at mid-thigh and show a whole lot of leg in some mid to high heels. And then to take the dress to the next level, I wanted it to be tiered in the back and the train to just go on for days. Her hair I wanted to have be pretty simple. Her dress is over the top, and so I didn't want her to be overly polished on the top but still look put together. So I chose to go with some nice flowy wavy locks that stopped at mid-back. And had I done this character in color, I envisioned those locks either being a super almost black or a vibrant red. And for the dress, I feel like that could have gone two ways. One, you could go with a super vibrant red that just would be a showstopper, hard to look away, especially with the volume of all of that tulle. Or on the other hand, it could have been a nice pale blue, maybe off of some super fair skin, just so it truly pops, almost as if she were a princess. And while I said I wasn't going to add any color to my sketches, I decided to go in with some of the BG3 and BG1 just to push the values a little bit further on both my first drawing as well as this final character drawing. By the time I made it to this last drawing, I was feeling very confident in this character designing process. I will say though that my favorite part was actually designing the clothes and picking out what colors to have those clothes. If I could have left them all headless, I probably would have, because for whatever reason, that part is honestly a little bit more daunting. I don't know if it's because I'm still struggling with how far you push the details of a character drawing in comparison to drawing realistically. And I know that over time, I will get more comfortable with it and really perfect the process. For now, I'm just going to enjoy the learning process of figuring out what works best. Do I have different characters each time, or do I stick with one and just try and perfect that one before moving on? Thanks so much for joining me while I completed a spread in my brand new sketchbook. I look forward to doing more of these character creations, and I hope you do too. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing or hitting that like button. At the very least, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day and a very happy new year. See you guys next year.